Hi, I'm giving you a very quick little introduction. I may have forgotten earlier, my bad. But welcome to my reading books inspired loosely based by the characters from Critical Role Campaign 4. If you don't see me recommending books for each character, it is simply because at this point in time, whilst I'm about to start editing, there is about 2 hours of footage and not all of the recommendations are in yet. So I'm thinking that if I have it already, cool. If not, I will, at the end of the series, when part 3 is out, I will follow up with a full recommendations for all the characters just in one little video so that you can see everything, we can talk through it a little bit more and explain a little bit more, because I fear these videos are going to be too long and I need to care about you guys paying attention and watching all the way through. So, sorry for that. I will see you guys later in the video. Enjoy! Okay, hi, I am 20% into my Cadigan book, which means we need to chat. I think I've already talked about why, but I gotta double down because this pick doesn't feel quite right. White horse, black knight, right? Yeah. I always want to get them flip-flop. I think that the narration is good. We've got dual narrators going on, which has me intrigued. I'm glad that we're getting both perspectives because in this we are following a girl. Her name is Sabine. I love the name Sabine. It's so pretty. Anyways, Sabine is prisoner to her father, if you will. A little bit dramatic, but like has very minimal freedoms, like is not very happy in life, doesn't get to do a whole lot, and is in a way sold to her new husband. So the synopsis talks about how like she's trading one prison for another, and I think that's like a really interesting look at her story and like what she has going on and how she sees the life that she's living. But to be given to this new husband of hers, she has to be paraded around butt naked following this man who we call Wolf. It's not his name, but we call him Wolf. And Wolf is like a bodyguard to her in a way, where he's like leading her to his master, which is her future husband. I do appreciate that she's not like, she's a good person and a little bit naive, but like sweet, but at the same time, like, is not afraid to act upon how she feels because she knows that she's like at a disadvantage and she doesn't want to be seen as like this meek woman that just like does what anyone says, but also like is complying enough to like survive. But she's like figuring out how can she escape, how can she use Wolf to get her way, and I really appreciate her as a character so far. I'm only 20% in, so like we'll see. It is very forced proximity. It is very, these two are like kind of all that we got. Like they're just traveling on the road right now. They're sleeping in the forest. The only time that she's like allowed to wear clothes is like secretly at night when she's in the tent. Like he'll let her wear one of his shirts, but like the second it's morning, he's like, sorry, we can't walk around because this is for the gods. And obviously in Critical Role there are no gods this season, but I do think that there would still be some kind of traditions and impacts of having dead gods and like what that would mean. But I just think it's an interesting concept and look. And big part of the plot that I totally forgot about is that you can be god-kissed in this world. It kind of reminds me of Saga of the Unfated in the way that it works, where it's like you are touched by the gods and you have some kind of special ability. Sabine has a special ability that she can talk to animals. So like her only companions in life have really been animals. And Wolf is also god-touched. I think maybe his powers smell. I just have this very vivid scene of me sitting in the office working on little tax returns, doing my job, and him talking about how he has the ability and power that's like really helpful to his master because like he can smell the purity and virginity on her, and I wanted to throw my phone across the hall and die. Like I was so not into it. I can't stand the purity bullshit in these books, but he's like, she's got to be pure for my master. And it's also like weird. I want to know more about their relationship and like why it's like a master. What is Wolf to him? Like, what is the point? I am liking it overall. I don't think like anything crazy is going on though. It's definitely like a slow build of plot because again, like they are just traveling, but I won't say that it's a slow burn in this enemies to lovers romance, because even though they're enemies, because of the fact that she's just like, why would I But it really comes down to her being like, why would I want this in my life? Like, why would I want to be just given away? Why would I want to be used? Why would I not want to be like loved and whatever? So I understand her not complying and like her being very defensive about this whole situation, because like she didn't ask for this. She's not like requested this marriage. It just kind of happened. She was arranged marriage to this man who is like seen as like a dark evil high lord or whatever. So I understand like her, but she's traveling with this like really hot rugged man is a Cadigan type of man, and I think that's fine, but it is lustful very early on. Like, I understand the enemies portion, not so much on his end. Like, Wolf has no reason to really dislike her as much as she has a reason to dislike him. But, like, they're obviously falling for each other, but it's so soon and sudden, and, like, it's just so lusty. Where I'm like, girl, come on. She's like, I kept my eyes closed, wondering if he would kiss me. Would I have let him kiss me? If I let him, would I really do that? This is despicable of myself. Like, I was just like, girl, get real. So like there's been some things of that where it's like happening a little bit too soon, but nothing has happened yet either. So like it's the catch-22. It's crazy to think that this book is 400 pages because it feels so short. Like it feels pretty quick paced. I'm intrigued to see like where we go. I'm intrigued to see the meeting with this husband. We saw him briefly in the beginning, and I'm just curious like what his court is like, if we get to see more of it. I know that this is the first book and I think a trilogy. I know there's at least 2 more books. So I'm interested to see if I would continue in the series or not. So far, like, I'm having no issues with it. I'm gonna definitely keep reading, obviously, but it is very much giving Cadigan vibes, and I really appreciate it. Just like the ruggedness, the hate wearing shoes, hate being inside, smelly man. Really appreciate just like how gruff he is, and also her communicating with the animals and like trying to get the little mouse that's like eating out of his bag to help her escape. Like, I just really appreciate those moments. It does feel very true to Cadigan, even though like it is a romance, which I wouldn't say Cadigan and romance align in my perspective just yet, but hey, who's to say? So much season to come. Anything can happen. You are being so cute. That's kind of my 20% hello introductory check-in with like bit of plot that I've gotten and like what's going on. I'll check in with you guys when I make more progress. This has definitely been like one of those slower audiobook listens for me, just because I'm not like so gripped by the story, but I am liking it enough that I definitely want to continue, whereas other books I'm like, I don't know, I'm pushing through, but this one doesn't feel like I'm forcing myself to read, which is good. Hello, I have taken a shower, I've walked the dog, and I'm planning to finish my book. I think I'm about 65% into No White Horse Black Knight. I know it. The synopsis truly is the first like 45% of the book, and then like 40 to 60% there's like plot and action that actually begins. It might just be me, but that feels like a little bit too long to like get started. Luckily, I'm fine with the writing, I'm fine with the characters, like I'm fine with this journey because it's a quick read and it's engaging enough. The first 40% is truly like the traveling. It really does solidify the characters getting to know each other. It has not been very long. And so what I initially felt was very lustful at the beginning has now kind of developed further, because it's like, oh, well, they had a singular night where they got dinner and they talked the whole night. And like they're slowly building something up. And I say slowly, it's not that slow, but like it's happening now. It's happening. And I appreciate that. And then I just like seeing their build up. There was like the only one bed, which gave us some sexual tension between them, and I appreciated those moments. And now we're like really escalating in plot. Like there's a bigger picture that's going on because of like the God-kissed stuff happening, and so there's just like more going on, which I do appreciate. I'm liking that there's like bits of plot that I can now latch onto and like get excited about, because we still haven't met the man, like the High Lord of Lies or whatever. And so I'm like, is he going to be as bad as he sounds? Like, what's the thing? Because this is dual perspective. So we're getting both Wolf and Sabine. In my eyes, Wolf being like, I see this High Lord as my brother, like I know him better than what he's perceived as by the world, but is also still like interested in Sabine. And so I'm interested to see like what their dynamic will really be like in person, because what we know of him from secondhand accounts, or like firsthand accounts, I guess, his account versus like the world's perception accounts, I just like don't know like how to play this off. And like the way that the conversations are happening about 65% in now, I'm like, you guys aren't, huh? So I'm a little interested in a confused way of like, what do you mean? What is this? Huh? It's too soon. What do you mean? So I am interested to see how this goes. I know that it's setting up a sequel, which I think I've already talked about, so I won't get into it, but I do think at this rate I would continue in the series, but I don't think it's like the highest of priorities, but I am like invested in these characters and I'm interested in their story. It just feels slow. Like there's not a whole lot of plot, not much has really happened. The only like first inciting incident that I was like, oh, something like plot worthy is going on was like a band of priests that showed up and were like, hey, you shouldn't parade this naked woman around. And they have points. I understand that they also have some malicious intent, potentially, and, like, might not be good people. But you imagine the girl who's trying to escape and doesn't like being paraded around this way and, like, wants some respect and less humility from her future husband. You would think that she'd be more inclined to, like, side with these men, but she's, like, so trusting of Wolf the entire time because they're in that, like, honeymoon phase of, like, getting to know each other and having these little crushes on each other. They're not really looking at the bigger picture of society around them and the world and like what is to come. So I do see in our future like some heartbreak and some pain of like, haha, we were in the cute little honeymoon phase and then like things have to happen differently and now we're like hurt. Another thing that I do want to mention though about this book is it is quite convenient and it is told in the first person, which is normally my favorite perspective to be in. I feel like I can connect with the characters more, but at times it's like, is Sabine projecting her emotions onto Wolf, or does she know too much about Wolf that she shouldn't? Like, there was a scene where Wolf was fighting some men, and she's like, oh, I just realized that Wolf is using his heightened God-smelling powers to know what the enemy's next steps in the fight are going to be. And I was like, huh? How would you know that just from watching him fight? You wouldn't, okay. So there's, like, some things that are a little bit convenient and a little bit, like, you shouldn't know that without a conversation or something, but besides a few of those things, I am overall having a good time. I could be definitely more nitpicky about it. I'm trying to be like a little bit more lax towards it, a little bit brain off, if you will. I'm trying not to be like so hypercritical about it because I don't think that's the type of story it wants to be. Like, you do have to suspend your disbelief, and I don't think that's a bad thing. I have to be in, like, the right mindset to listen to these types of books, because if I really, like, sat down, I could analyze it critically a lot, but it's not really trying to be that, so I'm just trying to have fun with it and enjoy, like, what the story is, because it is, at this point in time, a quite simple story that we've all read many a times before. But that's it. That's all for my little box. I will go finish and check in with you guys later. Hi, I'm about to clean up the office a little bit, put some books away. I've got like months of book box unboxing books there that I need to find homes on shelves. I'm trying to also reconceptualize some of my content because I've not been able to post nearly as much as I had hoped and planned for this first quarter just because of work and everything. It's officially like spring. Like, we've had daylight savings. It's so nice outside. It's gonna start raining again here soon, but the last like 3 days has been like almost 80 degrees, which is kind of crazy, and I'm really thankful. The trees are blooming, the pink and white trees, specifically the magnolias, and then there's like the white and the pink ones. They're not cherry blossoms, but the other kind. Oh, they're so pretty. I've learned that the more that I grow, the older that I get, the more of a spring I become. You know, I love the fall. I love autumn. It's just the colors, the atmosphere, the coziness. I do love and adore, but there is something about spring and like the new growth and just change that is really like resonating with my older self. And I'm just finding a lot more beauty in it than I used to, and I'm just really happy right now, even if I'm also stressed and overwhelmed. I was coming on here to say that I am making more progress, almost done with White Horse Black Knight, but I'm annoyed. I'm getting a little frustrated. So in this latter 40% or whatever, I think I don't even know what I am. Okay, I'm exactly 75% into it. And it's taken directions that I don't really like, I don't think. And it's a bit of a bother. So we've had our first sex scene. Oh my god. I never want to read a virgin sex scene like this ever again in my entire life. It was horrible. It was gross. I felt icky. I hated everything about it. I don't want to be there. I don't like it. I am not into it whatsoever. I hated every second of that sex scene. I hated it so much. I don't think it's going to bother everyone, but it certainly bothered me. And then directly after you get the first sex scene, and then everything has to kind of go bad because the plot needs to continue, and it can't just be like, and they lived happily ever after. And so I don't want to spoil anything, but as the plot has shifted and our characters have shifted their motives to fit the new issues going on, I don't like when love interests take agency from the other because they make decisions on their behalf and don't just communicate it. It's like, I understand you won't have a book if there's no communication, but like, it's not that hard to be like, hey girl, this is the new issue that we are facing. This is what my like best plan for it. What do you say? What do you think? That feels more truthful to a relationship. And like, I understand the like, oh, we can't really be together because you're promised to somebody else issue. And that makes perfect sense. Sure. That's like already its own complication. I get it. But to, on top of like having complications in the relationship already, and then heighten it because it's like, I just refuse to tell you anything because I think you're this delicate, precious little innocent flower that handle the real life world, even though like I'm teaching you how to fight and I, just took your purity. Like, I don't like it. I don't appreciate it. I really was liking Wolf as a character for so long in this story. He's a little bit rough around the edges and just like was kind of a fun rapscallion kind of character. And now he's just shifted to like a gross man that I don't appreciate as much. I'm probably not going to update you until I finish it now because I feel like I've had a lot of updates specifically about this book. So I'm going to organize my bookshelves, listen to the book, finish it hopefully before I go into the office. Same place. I did not make it very far in my cleaning task, but I did finish my book. What do I want to say about it? Basically, I think I'm ending this with a 3.25. I feel like it's probably going to get rated a 3, even though it had some 3.5 qualities to it. Because from a zoomed out lens with like hindsight and everything, I did appreciate that we had so much time with Sybil and Bastion and like really getting to know them and them getting to know each other and like being able to believe a little bit into their love story. And then I didn't like so much once they solidified their relationship and the conversations that were happening or not happening, I wasn't a huge fan of, which kind of makes Wolf a meh love interest to me. Sybil's fine. She's like this weird mix of like fierce, badass main character, but also innocent and knows nothing girl. So it's like a weird toss-up of like which character side you're gonna get depending on the situation. But I will say, once we meet up at the castle and we're like sneaking around, it's kind of cute and sexy. Like, oh, we can't get caught. You're betrothed to somebody else, but like, what if we just like slip away from the party really quick? Fun. And then we finally get like this very big point of the plot as like to what is to come in the series and like making, I guess in a way, an alliance that really intrigues me. So I do think I will continue in the series. Even if this first book wasn't like a perfect setup book, I do think that the ending really hooked me, like that last 20%. The romance part I'm like iffy about, and like, yeah, I kind of am into the guy who bought her. So I don't know what that says about me, but he intrigued me as a character. I think because we know less of him. So I'm fascinated by what he's got going on and like his whole dilemma. But with that said, I am off to the office. Luckily, I'm only working a half day, so I'm going a little bit later than I had planned, but I'm hoping to get off around like 3, so I'll still have sunlight when I'm off. Oh my god, it's wonderful. We need to spin for our next character. Let us take a look. Takes so long. Oh, okay, Wickander Nicholas. Wickander, ooh, what a fun character. So we'll talk about recommendations probably when I get off work, but Wickander is I think terms have changed because they've changed some of the classes as we've gone on to like make it more feel homebrew. I believe he's a cleric, and Wickander is Candescent Creed heir / member who firmly believes in the light. And he has, I think, and I mean this non-derogatory, but I think he has the most basic but fleshed out character art. Like, he has like a proper story going on, which I can't say for all of the characters. Like, there's Tierney, Tayor, a lot of the soldiers table, like Cadigan, they're just kind of like there for the ride. Like, I guess Tayor is like looking for his brother, but I guess Tierney and Cadigan especially, we've been spending so much time at the soldiers table that it's fresh in my mind. But I feel like those two characters, Cadigan and Tierney, have less motivations going on in their backstory, less things pushing them forward in a plot. They're just kind of like there for the ride, which is fine. But I do think Wickander being like a member of the Candescent Creed and his whole entire world just being shattered and everything that he thought he believed in is potentially a lie, and trying to find his footing and what all of this means to him and how he wants to present himself moving forward, especially as he is traveling with the soldiers table. I'm just rather enjoying his narrative arc and like the journey that we're going on with him. I do think that it's very classic in a fantasy book, especially because I read a lot of romantasy. Like, often a character is believing the world is one way and then rug pulled out from under their feet and everything is not what it seems. And I think that's just such a fascinating lens to read through with a character or like be in a world. But the book that I've chosen for him, I don't think follows that specific lens of him. I think the book that I'm going with is The Saint of Bright Doors. I don't really know a lot about this book. I don't really know what it is. I know that there's a man who is in some way, shape, or form organized in a cult and is, I think, coming out of it and trying to find his own way, but like doesn't believe in the cult, but like also I think is trying to take it down. So like there's a rebellion undertone, which feels very Soldier's Table to me. There might be more similarities. I know it's like The Saint of Bright Doors, so there might be like some light imagery. I'm not really sure, but I'm gonna get started on that today. I might finish it at the office depending on how long it is. But if not, I'll check in with you guys when I've got my foot in the world, because I don't really know what this is. I haven't really seen a lot of people review it, and I have one friend on Goodreads who absolutely loves this book, like 5 stars, praise, wanted to reread it immediately, like had such nice things to say about it that I briefly saw. I didn't read too in depth, but it wasn't a spoiler review anyway, but she really liked it. I don't know anybody else who's read this, so I will check in with you guys a little bit later when I'm off work. See you later. Bye! Okay, hi. I wanted to quickly give an update that I've started The Saint of the Bright Doors, and I'm really struggling with this one. It feels a little bit more literary than fantasy. I kid you not, the last 2 chapters, like nearly 10% of the book almost, has, no joke, been a dialogue, conversation between Mother of Glory, his mom, and Fetter, and I it's just like, it feels so, not clunky, but like info dumpy, because we're just getting so much of the history of like the Isle and how she left and how his father left and how now Fetter is going to be like the weapon against his father, and like his father is like off on the mainland like spreading his cult, but he's fighting with other cults, and I'm just like, I don't super care. Like, I'm 30% in. I can't, like, I know what the book is about based on like reading the synopsis and like finding the book for specifically this character with Candor and like the prompt and everything, but I'm like, I'm not loving it. I think the narrator is doing a perfectly fine job. I'm gonna keep listening. I'm gonna keep giving it a try. I don't want to DNF necessarily, but it's not gripping my attention a whole lot. I'm not really sure what like the point of everything is, and I'm just like not getting it. A lot of people say that the writing is so gorgeous, and I think because I'm listening to it, I'm not getting that beautiful prose either. And what I am getting is a third person perspective like writing style, which isn't my personal favorite, but like I read it often. It's maybe the most common, but for some reason the way that it's written or the way that it's being narrated kind of feels like Fetter is talking about himself in the third person instead of like having an omniscient narrator, like a limited third person perspective. Like, it kind of just feels like Fetter is saying Fetter, and I don't know, it's just it's kind of throwing me for a loop. But anywho, that's where I'm at so far, 30%. I'm gonna keep listening to it. It's hard. It's one of those books I can't really listen to while working because it doesn't grip me the same way, so I'll probably listen to something else for majority of the day and come back with you. But I just was walking the dogs and like listened to 10% of it, and it's just been a conversation the whole time, so I'm like, okay, cool. But anywho, I'm off to work. I will see you guys a bit later. All right, I hate when this happens. I feel so, is apathetic the right word to use towards this book? I just feel like nothing. And that's like truly the worst. I think that this book certainly has its right audience. I don't know who exactly that is, but they're definitely out there. And I think the people who will love this will love this. The writing is good. The narrator is fantastic. The concept is interesting. It just isn't the type of storytelling that I am looking for or wanting. But I think there's a lot of cool things in this. And once you get to the end, it's one of those books that you're like, oh my gosh, everything has been recontextualized and now I have to reread this book. I won't, but it does give you that feeling of like, well, now I have to reread it and see if I can like pick up on the signs and like look at it with a new lens and like really dive into it with a whole new perception, which I think is really cool. And I think it's a very unique narrative device that a lot of people don't utilize. Rightfully so. I think if they did it too much, it would be overdone and then we wouldn't be into it. But I do think that was a really cool reveal, I suppose, towards the end. And I did appreciate that. I think what it's saying about all of these topics is interesting and cool. It just, for some reason, never worked for me. I don't know if it's just like Fetter or the way that it was written or something about the juice didn't work for me. And I'm quite bummed about not liking it because this is one of those books that I haven't seen really anyone talk about. And so I feel bad like not being able to give this book like a proper review because it just didn't work for me. Like, I would love to help somebody find this book and find a new favorite, but there's just so much about it that I was like, nah, you know? I think a part of the reason why I struggled with this a little bit is maybe I just wasn't getting it. Like, it was going over my head. Like, I picked up on the themes of colonization, trauma, like leaving a high power religion and having a lot of difficult dynamics with your parent and deconstructing like the hero complex and everything. And like I see it and I get it to like some degrees. Like, I get it enough to pick up on the themes and like to see what's being said, but I still don't feel like I get it. I wasn't so enthralled with the story that I was like, yeah. And I wasn't really grasping everything it was saying. And it could have just been me, and again, the way that it was told, where it felt like a first person narrator telling me a story about themselves in the third person, which was like truly the most me problem I think I've had all year. There was just so many little things about this that I just can't figure out exactly what it was about this book that didn't work for me, because again, it's well written, it's got cool characters, it's like fun concept, like you're in a support group with a bunch of other people who were supposed to be the chosen, but like you're actually the chosen to kill your dad. Oops. I think that's fun. I just think this was more magical realism than fantasy. And I think based off like the synopsis and what I thought the story was going to be, it was just so very different, which isn't a bad thing. I just don't think my expectations were in the right spot. I guess needless to say, there's a lot of reasons why I didn't jive with this book a whole lot and why it didn't really work for me. I think honestly, I feel awful. It's so hard rating books sometimes because I rate based off enjoyment, based off how I like the book, how I could recommend and pitch the book to people if I would read it again. Like, a 5 stars is best book, knocked my socks off, something I would want to reread again and revisit, something that I just really truly loved. My 1 stars are usually for like offensive books, and this certainly wasn't that, but it's really hard where my enjoyment level is a 2 star, but like recognizing this for what it is, like the way that it was constructed and the prose and just what the book is objectively, I think is more like a 4 star. But because I didn't like it and I didn't have fun and it was a slog to get through and I just like didn't want to pick it up, didn't want to finish it, kind of puts me at like a 2 star. But that feels wrong and mean because like it's not fair. But like, reading is subjective, ratings are subjective. I understand that. So I think in the end, it's probably going to be like a 2.5, but it'll really come down to like if I want to rate it 3 on the apps or if I want to rate it 2. It just, 2 seems so mean for what it is. So I'm really struggling with that. But anywho, I forgot to grab my book. Gosh dang it. I spent for our next character, and I'm so happy to have like a new change in pace, something that I'm excited about, something that's actually on my physical TBR, something that I've been wanting to read for so freaking long, and it's chunky. So I've been very nervous, but it's like one of the more perfect books that I can recommend for this character. We spun Tasha, played by Abria Ironguard. Oh my god. Oh, how I love this lady. This woman, oh woman, oh woman. Oh my god, I'm obsessed with her. I was first introduced to her through Dropout TV, and then like seeing her in the Critical Role space has just been such a pleasant experience for me. But Abria is playing a druid orc character who is truly such a complex woman that I cannot wait to learn more about her. She is a mother, but before being a mom, she's an activist trying to heal the lands after the gods have been killed in a war. Like, she said, yeah, I'm a mom, but I need to go do this for me in the world. I need to go find myself. I need to go do something. I need to heal the world, like the lands. And I just think that's such an interesting character choice. Like, it's so easy to be like Hal and be like, look, I have kids. Perhaps they have kids together. But it's interesting to be like, I have kids, so I'm going to stay with my kids and I'm going to make them like a big part of my life. And there's nothing, I don't want to like offend anybody by what I'm saying. I'm just saying that it's a very interesting character choice to say, yes, I have children. And no, they're not going to be my entire whole existence. Like, obviously, later on, we find out that she's also trying to, like, learn more about, like, what's going on with her son, who's being trained under Julian, who she doesn't really like. But I'm not trying to get too much into the plot right now. But I just think that it's a really interesting character choice to say, yes, I'm a mom. And yes, I'm yeeting myself out of this conversation. Like, yes, I am going to heal the lands. I'm going to go travel with this young necromancer. And I just really enjoy that choice. And I'm really excited to see how that plays out more. Abria is a part of the Schemers? No, it's the Seekers table, which I'm really intrigued by. We haven't, again, it's been a lot of Soldiers table, but I'm so intrigued by the Seekers. But anywho, Druid, Mother, activism. Those were like the 3 key points that I really took away from this character. And to follow it with the druid perspective, we have The Jasmine Throne by Tasha Suri. I'm so freaking excited. I couldn't really tell you what this was. Trapped by her despotic brother within the crumbling walls of an ancient temple, Princess Malini dreams of vengeance. Meanwhile, maidservant Pariah, forced to disavow her power and birthright because of her past, dreams of freedom. In a world beset of wild magic and turbulent uprising, their destinies will become irrevocably tangled. And together, they will set an empire ablaze. This is a sapphic fantasy. It's not, I don't want to call it a romantasy whatsoever. I do think it's like very much a fantasy novel with some sapphic undertones. And I'm excited to explore that and see what all is in store with us. The synopsis gives so little away that I'm just like, what's going to happen? What's going on? I'm very intrigued. But this is the first book and I believe a trilogy. I mainly picked this one because this is like one of the books for druid like nature magic, which really intrigues me. So I'm excited for that. I'm going to give this a read. I'm going to start it probably tonight and hopefully make like a decent chunk into it. We'll see. There's almost always going to be like some type of rebellion, like going against the oppressors, fighting the system in fantasy novels. That's just a very common thing. So it's really easy for me to be like, druid, but also an uprising. It's like, yeah, easy pickings, but it's fitting. It's so fitting. And that's all that really matters to me. But this is going to be the Tasha pick and I'm going to get started on it this evening. I'll probably check in with you guys tomorrow once I've made some real progress into this. Like 200 pages would be dope, but like it's already almost 10 o'clock. Like I got off at 8 and then I had dinners. I made tacos and now I'm updating you guys about my books. So I don't think I'll get as much read as I wanted because I'm planning to go into the office early tomorrow, but it be what it be. I will check in with you guys in a while. Tomorrow probably, but I'll see you guys then. Get your tail out of the way when I have more to say. All right, I'll see you guys tomorrow. Good night. Hello. I've made it 50 pages into The Jasmine Throne, and I am liking it. This is quite the chunky book, and I think partly because of its size, it's almost 600 pages. It's 578, if you were curious. But I think because of its length, I've been quite intimidated by it, and also, it's got a lot of uncommon to the American language names. And so I think also just like getting my foot into the story. I gotta stop saying that. So I think like the intimidating factor of like, oh, can I keep it straight? Like it's pretty fantastical, but I also like don't know much about it besides like the very, very, very small synopsis. And so I think just overall it's been a mix of like, I don't know, but I've heard great things about this book. Like so many people have given this absolutely incredible ratings and reviews. And so like I want to be in the in-group that really likes this book. I have high hopes, especially now that I'm officially 52 pages in. Progress. And I'm really glad to have a video like this where it's like, yes, force yourself to read this book that you've been interested. Obviously, I purchased the book, which is usually a pretty high sign of like I have an interest in it. I buy a lot of books, but I'm also selective about the books that I buy, and I only buy books that I'm genuinely interested in. And so having this on my shelf for 2, maybe 3 years, like it's been a while, I just need to like get over being intimidated by books that have sat on my shelf for a long time and books that are over 400 pages. Like I just got to get over it. And so this is definitely like helping, kind of getting me out of my comfort zone. I'm really liking the writing style. It's actually very pretty, and not pretty in a like overly purple prose type of way. It's not like overly lyrical. I just think that there's the right amount of description and atmosphere to it, on top of like getting to know so many characters. Like there's been a lot of name drops. And so we start this book in Priya's perspective, and we get to know her right off the bat as like this really good person. She is a maid servant and often goes to the bazaar to purchase sacred wood beads. And these beads are able to help those with the rot. I can't explain why. I don't understand why. I just know that the rot has happened and it's plagued a lot of the farming families. And so there's a lot of orphan children on the street who are plagued with the rot. And the rot, from my understanding, it sounds like a very like druidic nature magic kind of disease where your veins turn to vines and eventually like flowers bloom out of your eyes. And it's unfortunately a deadly disease, but also kind of pretty. Hate to say it. Sounds very
Cool. And so Priya likes to go and purchase with her coin sacred wood, which is also kind of going extinct, if you will. Like, it's hard to come across because the rot is also affecting the trees. And so there's no more trees, but these trees that have the sacred wood that get wielded into beads have some type of ancient magic in them as well. So you've got a lot set up. And like, I kid you not, the first like 2 chapters with Priya. And so she decides to take on one of the orphan boys who like kind of stuck around when she's like, sorry kids, don't have any beads. And so she helps out this one boy. She gets him a job at where her employer's house. Her employer is nice to strays and orphans. And so that's where we meet Priya. We also know that there is an undertone of she could fuck shit up. She could do some real damage if she wanted to, where she is good and chooses to be good and tries to be helpful, being somebody who was also once an orphan, or I guess still is an orphan, but like was a stray on the street and was taken in. So she's compassionate in that way, but also has these moments where she's like, I could end this person's life. If this man so much as he talks to me, I could do some damage. And you're like, what does this mean? But she's like, no. They're not worth it. No. I'm better than this. And I'm like, what does this mean? I'm so intrigued by that. And then on the other hand, we have Princess Malini, and I'm confused by. I don't fully understand what's happening. Again, we haven't had many chapters, and her chapters are significantly shorter. But she is the princess, sister of the emperor. And from the prologue and where we're at now, she is being imprisoned. And she is being imprisoned where Priya works. We just got like their first glimpse at each other through a little cage, like truly being imprisoned. And I don't fully understand why, except for the prologue mentions like she denies immortality. And so that's why she's being held captive. And it's like at this temple where Priya and her people once worshipped or lived, but then under rule, like terrible things happened and people died. And I just like, there's so many unanswered questions. So this definitely like checks the box of getting you interested in what's going on. Like, you have so many questions that you want to keep reading because you're like, what does it mean? Where are we going? What's the point? And then there was also a third perspective introduced that I was not prepared for. And it was a man. In my sapphic love story, I was not expecting that. I'm going to be honest. But his name is Ashok, something like that. I only met him once. He's had one chapter so far, but he clearly is going to be on like the rebellion side, and that's kind of all I know about him. He seems like he's going to be an interesting character, so I'm intrigued by all of the perspectives that we're getting. I'm very excited for the sapphics to begin. Like, they've seen each other. There was eye contact. There was a sound and oh good, you're real. And then, pardon me, princess, I'm so sorry. And then you flee? You can't get more gay than that. That's like the most meet cute for the gays I've ever heard. I am so excited for them. I'm so ready to be in a sapphic gay story. I know this isn't going to be a romance. I need to like really prepare myself that it is a fantasy book with a subplot of sapphic. So I need to like manage my expectations. It's not going to be my little romantasy, but that's okay. I'm just very excited. I didn't think I would have so much to say in 52 pages, but here we are. A lot has happened. 52 pages equates to about 2 hours in the audiobook. So we are in for the long haul. I'm trying to read this in like a reasonable time, but now that I'm finally getting established in this world and kind of getting to know these characters and just kind of learning everything, I definitely am more excited to read this than I was initially. I just was so put off by it because I was like not getting into it the first couple chapters, and now I'm like, okay, I think I'm in it. I think we're ready. So my plan is to continue reading as long as I possibly can tonight, and then I will probably have to, I don't know, I'm torn because I need to like make serious progress in this because I've not been reading a whole lot, but at the same time, oh my goodness, it's so hard to read after work. So I'm struggling with that, but either way, I'm going to keep reading. I'll check in with you guys when I've made some significant progress, hopefully, and then go from there. Great.
Hello. I need to check in and talk to you because I'm going to say like over 50%. That feels accurate to me. I've made it to chapter 35. I read the first 100 pages physically to kind of pick up on the story, pick up on the characters, get used to them, learn everyone. There's been so many characters that I was unprepared to learn about. Let's see. Priya, Malini, Ashok, Vikram's wife, Bahini, Rao. Is that all of them? I feel like I might be missing one, truly. There's been quite a few characters introduced, and like they all have their own perspectives, and I am liking them, but I truly thought this was going to be a story about Priya and Malini, which, like, yes, but also like there's so much more to it. I really love Priya so much. I love being with her. She's the chapters that I'm most excited to be with. I kind of just like the women. I also liked Malini because she, you know, is imprisoned, and she kind of finessed her way into having Priya be her only maidservant, as she's like supposed to be in like this complete isolation thing and being totally drugged. And so Priya is like very much her right hand woman, and I love that. But as more time has gone on, as we are expanding more with the plot, which I really don't, because like the synopsis is nothing, I don't want to really say too much and like give anything away. If you're interested in reading this, just know that like, yes, there is some action, and I think the action bits are good, but they're short and sweet. I think they're effective in what they're trying to convey, and very much pack that punch of like, what is going on? But then like immediately gets right back into very political heavy. Like this is all about the political intrigue and who is on the side of the evil emperor and who's like against them. Like that is very much the focus. There is, you know, the lesser class, which is Priya. She's there's so many words, and I do apologize. I am trying to learn them the best that I can. Irani, and they are the isle of a lot of the emperor's aggression and is kind of causing a lot of uproar. But also there is this rot that's going on with the land, but also it's affecting the people, which is like the only way I can really bring this back around to this vlog concept of like Taisha and like druidic magic, which we've barely seen. We are very slowly unlocking the magic, but there is like druidic nature magic, which is what this is like the main reason. And also because there is like this sickness, the rot, that is affecting the trees and the land, but also it's affecting the people. And so for those reasons, I do think this was a good pick still, but I am liking it. It's taken me a really long time to get into. I don't care for all of the man's perspectives. I like Rao for the most part. He lives in a brothel. He is on friendlier terms with Priya and Malini. And then we've got Ashkuk, which is a related brother to one of the characters, and he's interesting, but I just don't care. There's also Vikram, who is a general who's like, you know, good and bad. I don't really care for him. Vikram's wife, we haven't seen a whole lot of her, and I like her, but I don't care too much. I really just want this to be all about Priya and Malini. And I think that's just because I am a romantasy reader. Like, I love the romance in a book, and so when I can get snippets of it, I'm like, yes, 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 yes. So that's what I've been eating up. But I am liking this. I want to say like 4 hours left. And also, I don't want to give too much away, but there is a chapter of a different book that may or may not be talked about next week. I don't know, maybe, just maybe. But anyways, I am liking this. I'm having a good time. I'm hoping to finish, obviously, today. I'm gonna keep listening to the audiobook. The sun has finally come out. Oh my god, it was pouring down rain all day yesterday, which means sit on the couch and read day, not clean the house day. And the sun has finally come out today, and so I'm trying my darndest to like clean a little bit, hence why my squishmallows are over there, because I was just washing the couch covers and just put them on, and then got to a point where I was like, I should probably chit chat with y'all, because you know 35 made it pretty far from last night. So anyway, that's what's going on with me. I'm going to do a couple more chores, keep listening. I will probably update you when it's done. I might try to like read the last couple chapters on camera, just in case like there's an interesting shocking plot reveal or twist by the end, or if there's a cliffhanger. This is the first book in a trilogy, so maybe something interesting will happen, but we'll have to wait and see. But that's where we're at. That's what's going on. I will check in with you later. I have officially finished my book. I had been filming like my reaction to the ending of the book, but really it was like so much sooner, like in the 400s range, where a lot of the action was really going down and so much was going on, and I really enjoyed those parts. But the ending, I was expecting like a cliffhanger, but no, this is like a complete book. Like you get the beginning to the end. It's like a whole arc, and then it sets up for the next book. There's so much setup in this book though, and when I tell you, like, nothing really happens until 50% in, and then stuff is happening, and then, like, nothing's really happening, and then a lot happens, and then nothing happens again. It's like a whole journey, if you will. I don't think that's a bad thing. I just think you need to have proper expectations when going into this one. A lot of the, like, reviews, if you will, a lot of the forum on pagebound specifically that I was reading, a lot of people don't have, like, clear agreements on which characters or perspectives. I feel like there we go. A lot of people don't have agreements on which characters are the better perspectives. I personally really liked Priya and Malini. I can never say it right because I'm trying to say it how I read it rather than how it's pronounced, which is bad, I know. But it's Malini. And those two were my favorite. Priya's relationship with Rook, oh, I almost teared up at one point. I was like, I can't handle this. This is too much for little me. Like, I can't do it. I am so conflicted on how I feel about this. I think book 2, where how it ends, sets up for a lot of dealing with the rot specifically. And I think that specifically will feel a lot closer to Taisha, just because it's dealing more specifically with healing the land, healing the people with their druidic magic. But I think, again, the setup book is really solid. A lot of perspectives. I wasn't, like, the biggest fan of a lot of these men, to be honest. I didn't care for them. I thought a lot of them were hot trash. I like the women a lot more, but, like, that's not the biggest, like, surprise or takeaway, so I shouldn't really be pressed about that. In the end, I am landing on, I would really like to jump into the second book this month. I would like to binge the series and kind of get it read, but I also know that I have a better experience whilst tandem reading this series. I think just because there's so many characters, there's only one narrator, so it is really easy to get lost in the sauce because there's just so much going on. So I did find myself enjoying it more when physically reading or doing, like, very mundane tasks like sweeping or taking out trash. Like, I was really able to focus. The second I started, like, trying to print something or trying to do multitasking, it didn't work for me. So I have to be careful with that because I do not own the sequel. So I'm trying not to, you know, buy every book ever. So my plan is to listen audibly to this next book and to finish the series just on audiobook. But that means I'm going to really need to, like, slow it down, like, probably less than 2.5 to really be able to pay attention to everybody that's in the books. I'm sure like new perspectives will be introduced, and I just, like, really want to give it the care that it needs. So with that, I really want to continue in the series. On the flip side of that, I don't know if I can give this a full 4 stars because it's one of those things where I'm super excited to continue in the series. I thought a lot of the setup was nice. I am really invested in the rot, where it's like flowers are growing out of people's eyes and, like, your veins turn into vines and your arms, like, eventually get, like, a bark coating and, like, your hair turns to leaves. Like, I just really like the imagery of that. It feels very C.G. Drews, if you're familiar with her horror books. And so I really liked the rot in this, and I'm really excited to see more of it. But again, it's mostly political intrigue. There was just so many moments where I could so easily set this down, and if I didn't own it, I don't think I would have pushed myself to read it so much. I definitely struggled with momentum of, like, wanting to pick it up, wanting to continue, caring about all the perspectives. Like, I was really here for a sapphic relationship, and yes, you get it, but the pining, the yearning is top tier, and I really appreciated it. But it still wasn't, like, enough focus because you also have all these scummy men filling up my time, and I was just not what I was wanting. But that does not negate this from being a good book. I think you just, again, need to go in with the right expectations and not just the synopsis of 2 sapphics on the back, because that's not accurate at all. But yeah, I think in the end, 3 feels honestly too harsh. 3 doesn't feel like a fair enough review because the writing is so stunning. I really appreciated all this. I really appreciated all the descriptions and it's not purple prose, but it's just lyrical in a way. It's just very lush, and I really appreciate the writing. I think the characters are pretty good. I think there could have been a little bit more depth to them, but when you have so many, it's kind of hard to do so. I think that Priya really takes the cake for, like, top tier character. And then, yeah, I think the plot was interesting, but that's where I'm kind of struggling, where it's like the enjoyment and the plot were kind of like the things. So, like, 4 feels too high, too generous. 3 feels too unkind. So I guess 3.5, which is, like, my average rating for most books. I feel like most books, I'm like, I liked it. It's good, but it's not, like, meh good. It's not solid, like, fantastic good. It's just, like, good, you know? So that's usually my 3.5s, which I find a lot of fantasy can really fall into. But yeah, that's my final review for The Jasmine Throne. I did overall like this. I really do recommend it to people who like politically heavy fantasy novels with a lot of perspectives. I did enjoy it. I think we could have used a little bit more world building, but I do think world building will come more in the second and third book. So I am looking forward to that. And that is it for this book. I don't know if I need to spin a wheel now or if that's a later thing. Movie magic, just so you're aware, this is actually the last book that I've read, because it took me a while to finish it, so it's taken so long. Yeah, we'll spin in my next clip because this video is too long. I'll see you later. Good evening. I wanted to check in because I have binged, and I mean binged, within like a week, the first 4 volumes to the Rat Queen series. This is truly such a perfect representation. Okay, we're gonna get into the problems with this soon, but this is a really good representation for dwarven women who grow beards. I'm looking at you, volume 3, you've been the best so far. But also just like having that D&D feeling of like you're not quite a guild, but you are a group of characters coming together and you go on missions, but also like there's big real world impacts of things happening, sometimes to you, sometimes just around you, that you're getting involved in, and it's so D&D, and I love that. Now really quick, after reading the first graphic novel, I took it upon myself to look into the creative team behind this. The rights to The Rat Queens is now owned by Image Comics, I think, whoever is the publisher. This is written by a man who stood by the artist during his domestic abuse charges. He was the artist for volumes 1, 2, and 3, and I think he might have come back for like the later volumes, like maybe 7 or 8. I'm not condoning any of those actions. I don't encourage anybody to go out and purchase these directly. If you find it secondhand, fantastic. Luckily, my library has unlimited ebook copies, so that's how I have been reading it. It's just on my phone at night, and the colors are beautiful. I think volume 3 has been the best and also most true to this character because it's set at a magical school. It's talking about like the corruption of a magical school. And also we are following our dwarven character. Her name's Violet, I believe is her full name. But she's growing her beard out in the 3rd volume. They shave it off in the 4th one for no reason. They don't address anything. I think the time jump between volume 3 and volume 4 was atrocious. I didn't mind the time jump between volume 2 and volume 3. But volume 3 brought on a new artist who I actually really enjoyed the art style for. I thought it was kind of better, to be honest. I didn't love the art style of volumes 2 and 4 so far. So take that how you will. Art, luckily, is a subjective thing, so not everybody agrees with me, and that's fine. But I do also think that my knowledge of the artist originally being clouded by just being a piece of shit has also influenced me just maybe not liking it. Also, like, you can tell a lot of men were writing the series. The first graphic novel was published in 2013, and I'm not excusing any of the choices that they made, but it is a little strange for a bunch of men to be writing a group of women with sexual themes, but also there is queer representation, so there's a good point there. But also their queer representation is a smidgen, which I think is like their version of a legally distinct hobbit or halfling, but also is a white character with dreads, and it's like, I get that it's a fantasy world and blah blah blah, but like, I don't know, a little strange. There is a black character who is an ex-cult member who practices culty cleric magic. I overall like the cast of characters. I think that they're funny. I think that they have very loud personalities that I really appreciate, and they're so unapologetically them, but also are lacking filters at times and just don't quite act like how a group of friends maybe would, like using fantasy racial slurs at each other. That part kind of threw me off. So like, it's really hard to come and like talk about the series in a fully positive way because overall, I am liking the series. I'm enjoying these characters. I like the adventures that we are going on. I think that it is so true to a D&D party, with a lot of caveats of there are very in-your-face issues that definitely are harder to pretend aren't there. Like, you just can't. They're just so glaringly in your face. And a lot of it's just like, but why? Like, I think it was the 4th volume? One of the last 2 or 3 volumes, we see one of our characters just completely naked. There was no, like, it felt like a power move, and then they completely changed their haircut in the next scene, and there was like no real explanation. So I just feel like sometimes it's a little bit choppy in the explanation of where we're going. But overall, I do like the series. I'm going to finish it. I'm going to finish the last 4 volumes and then probably check in. I do like it. I think that it's fun. It's funny. I like the quests that we go on. I think that the 3rd book really felt the most true to Murray, which is fun. And I like them. I like getting to know them. I like getting to know their backstories. I like seeing the adventures they go on. But there's definitely like, you know, pros and cons. It's like, I appreciate the queer representation, but also like, why are we making other choices? And it's just like, it's a constant scale of me trying to figure out if I'm pro or con these books. And I'm landing pretty like neutral of like, I like them, asterisk, issues, you know? But that's the first 4. I guess I should explain. In this, we're following 4 characters. We've got a secret tiefling wizard. We have a cleric ex-cultist. We have a smidgen rogue. And we have I think, barbarian dwarf. Potentially paladin. I'm not really a fighter, though. Fights with a sword. Very cool. Very badass. And basically, they are the Rat Queens. They are a band who have come together. They live in a city of Palisade, and a bunch of adventuring parties exist. But they cause a lot of mayhem. And they're not really liked, but also are saving the town. So it's a very like bittersweet, because they get drunk a lot, they start a lot of bar fights and cause a lot of like comeuppance up in the streets, and just like are kind of a nuisance. So we see the first volume of them kind of having a potential hit on all adventuring parties, and then we kind of grow from there. We see like a bigger picture, and then we go on a dungeon crawl. Like, there's just a lot going on. Again, I think the time jumps make it a little bit hard to follow, but it feels very true. It feels very episodic of what's going on with them. And I think that they're funny and charming while also questionable. So yeah, overall, that's kind of where I'm landing with the first 4 volumes. I think like the average rating for them would probably be a 3.5. I do recommend it to some degree. Like, it's similar with Lock and Key when I read that graphic novel series. It's like, oh, I really like them. Love the show so much. But also there is like a full moment where the kids are swapping races and like have a blackface, and it's very weird. So there's just like moments that are off-putting, but overall you're like, I like it, but this thing makes me feel bad inside. So it's very strange. It's hard to explain any further than that, but that is the first 4 volumes of Rat Queens. I will check in with you guys eventually when I finish the last 4. I'll probably, if possible, try to bang them out this weekend. So that's my goal, but you'll find out eventually. Okay. Hear me out. I know I said that I would check in when I finished the last 4 volumes, but volume 5, guys, so much happened. It's the longest I've spent reading one of the novels. Like, they're like 150 pages. Like, they're not very long graphic novels, but they pack so much into them at the same time. Like, they're a little bit more wordy, but oh my gosh. So I'm reading it and I'm like, ooh, this is definitely up there as like one of my favorite volumes. I was like, this volume, obviously volume 1, because it's like the setup. Volume 3, because I think that's just been my favorite. But then also volume 5 comes in with new art styles. We've got, oh my gosh, the fun of the art styles and the like major plot line. I think that's getting set up. My issue with like volume 4 was there was such a crazy time jump. But then in the middle of volume 5, like the last section of volume 5, there's a 20-year time jump, and I was like, what is going on? Nothing got explained. I was so confused. I was like, am I like missing parts of the book? Like, did they stop printing a part of the book and like I'm just getting like something? I was so confused. And then eventually it came back around and I was like, huh? So it's like this like multiverse maybe situation that I'm just like so fascinated by. It's made me so excited to continue with the series, like the last 3 volumes. I'm obsessed with the arcs that some of our characters are going through right now. Like, I am just so into whatever weird thing is going on right now, and I don't understand it fully. I like kind of get it, but I still have a lot of questions. I'm really hoping that they'll answer a lot of questions and like explain some of this to me. But like, volume 5, guys, oh my god, I was I was shocked by everything that was happening, and I'm really pleased by it. Oh, so good. It's so good. It's so interesting. I just had to talk about it. I can't even talk about it because it's like volume 5, but like I'm just so anywho's, my plan is to finish volume 6, 7, and 8, and then I will check in with you, but I just had to like come scream for a quick second. Like, oh my goodness, that was so tasty of a story arc. Oh my gosh. Hi, good evening. I wanted to check in really quick because I finished, oh my god, the Rat Queen series. I'll make this kind of fast because 1, I don't really have a whole lot to say, and 2,
I have so many fans on in this room that I'm always so scared that's gonna sound bad. I do have my little microphone, so I'm hoping that this helps a little bit. But anywho, I finished Rat Queens, and it was it was okay. I did appreciate the way it came together and concluded. Hi, sweetie. Thank you so much. And I did. It's such a bittersweet series of like, I like a lot of parts of it, and I also can't stand a lot of parts of it, and so I struggle with where I land on them often. But I really enjoyed some aspects of this, specifically with the labyrinth and the way that it all came together in the end, and like the not quite cliffhanger that it ends on, but the like, what does it mean type of ending, which I really appreciate in a graphic novel. Like, to like have that hook even at the end of the series is kind of fun. And overall, I think it was a good goodbye, and I enjoyed the arc of everything. Kind of wish that everything had a little bit more full circle moments. Like, there were some characters that were introduced in I think volumes 5 or 6, and you never see them again. I'm like, that felt relevant and important, and it kind of just got neglected. And so I really appreciated in volume 7 how it came back around to like one of the throwaway characters. I really appreciated that callback, and it made me laugh a lot, so that was great. But I kind of wanted more of that, a little bit more connection between all of the series rather than as episodic as it kind of felt. But that's just personal preference. I don't really like an episodic story. I really want the dots to connect and there to be like this full story that's like I think the big thing is that this series doesn't seem like a type of series that had the last volume completely plotted out when it began. So it doesn't feel like there was a proper through line all the way, because like really important things happened and then we did not worry about them and did a bunch of side quests instead, which feels again true to D&D, but not in a cute and charming way when it's in like a story arc graphic novel like that's being given to you in short bites rather than like, you know, a D&D campaign where it's like intentional. I don't know. Anywho, I did overall like the series. This is my ranking for all of the books in the series of my best to my worst. And I would say that the series at the end is probably like a 4-star. Like, I did like a lot of it. I rated most of them between 3.5 and 4 stars, depending on the volumes, which again, my ranking, so you know how I feel. And overall, it was a very fun series. I think you do have to have a little bit less sensitive of humor to pick up on everything and to enjoy everything, because it is quite crude at times. So like, if you're not into that, like hypersexual characters, just like being really mean to your best friends, just some of the jokes that are made, be wary if like that's not for you. Like, don't force yourself to read the series, but it was fun overall. I definitely have many critiques for it, but my overall enjoyment I think is very fitting and very fun for Murray, because like, I love seeing a dwarf girl grow out her beard and like be strong and intelligent. I really liked her. I really liked Vi just as a character. She was the dwarf and she has like an arc. She's kind of gone for the last volume and a half, which is like a little bit disappointing because I really enjoyed her, but I digress. I was here longer than I thought I would be. I had more to say than I thought, but that's it for the Rat Queens, and I'm happy to have read it, and I'm glad that I binged it like I did rather than just reading one volume with you and then kind of sitting on it. I kind of am glad that we did the whole thing together. So anywho, good night.
Happy belated St. Patrick's Day. I also want to do our last spin together. And we got Tyranny. That's interesting. Okay. It is kind of hard to see, like, the picture quality. My brightness is too much. Does that help? Yes. We got Tyranny, which I love. I love Tyranny. She's such a fun character. The moment when they're, like, in a midst of a battle, I think it's, like, episode 7 or 8, and she said, oh, what does she say?
Inside the mirage of an octopus.
It just sucked you in.
Dr. Finger!
You see, the footman goes, my lord, the squid's eaten.
The squid has eaten Dr.
That was just, like, such a funny moment. Like, that whole battle. Honestly, I just really like the soldiers table. They're making me laugh a lot. And it's really fun, I guess in a way, like breaking the fourth wall, like when the actors are having so much fun and start laughing about the like crazy things that are happening. I adore it. Anywho, the book that we're going to be reading is one I've never heard anybody talk about. So this could be an interesting situation, but it is No Demons But Us. And the reason I picked this one specifically was because it's about sisters and demons. And that feels very Tyranny coded. Tyranny is a little demon. And Whitney described her in like an early pre-season interview like that she's like a horny, sad girl. So I feel like if I'm recommending like books that Tierney would read and like, I would give her like the weird litfic books, but just based on like her character and who she is, she's silly but also has like a complex relationship with her sisters of very love and hate. She's indoctrinated into a cult but also like has hindsight and like knows what's going on, so she's more helping with Candor with his coming of terms with everything, where she's like, I kind of knew things but like I'm also like an outcast in my family and like I don't super get along. But I think the lens of having like sisters who are also heavily involved and like, so sorry, my camera battery died, but I was just gonna finish my thought. I will give recommendations later. But I was just kind of saying that she has a complex relationship with her sisters where she wants to be like them in some ways and like kind of get their approval, but at the same time feels very outcast and like not of them. And I love all the jokes that we talk about, like being returned to the pit, and just her relationship with Candor and like seeing that grow and develop is really just sweet. And she's just such a funny character. I love Whitney so much. She's doing an impeccable job of playing a demon, just being like, any like edibles after this fight around, like any fingers that I could just like maybe grub down on. She's hilarious. She's so fun. Anyhow, that's it. I'll chat with you guys about my recommendations a little bit later. I have to read this book electronically. I bought the Kindle book is what I'm trying to say. So I'll get started. I will update you guys with what I know. Can you tell that I just got off work and like worked 10 plus hours? It's cool. It's fine. Anywho, I will chat with you guys when I have thoughts and updates.
Hi. I hate to be that person, but we're protecting peace today, and I will be DNFing my Tyranny pick. I'm like, so it's tricky because I waited until like the last day really to finish the last book, because reading a book in a day makes perfect sense, is doable for me. But I don't have like a lot of Tyranny picks or backup plans, so I unfortunately don't know what the best option is right now. Basically, I am DNFing this on chapter 3. I made it 33 pages in. I was a little bit uncomfortable with some of the scenes and like the way that we're dropped into the world and like immediately things are happening. And so I was a little bit nervous about it. And I went to Goodreads and I looked at some of the reviews, and I think I have to just like, protect my peace, do what's going to be good for me right now. Obviously, this book works for the few readers that it has. This is a definitely smaller, I'm pretty sure indie published book, but there's 10 books in the series, and I don't see myself pushing through this first book so that I can get to books 7 and have like this incredible experience and like see how vast the world building is. I don't think this is a bad book. I don't think that it's necessarily going to be bad or harmful for everybody, but it's not going to be a book that's going to work for me, and we're going to get into why. So, No Demons But Us is following Serana, who is the third daughter of the matriarchy house of Thulin, something like that. Hard part about not having an audiobook is you really have to guess on all of the names. But she has 2 older sisters, the first and second born, and Jilrana is dead in chapter 1. And the Red sisters come to the house to find out what happened. Why is she dead? The second sister, Cal is certain that Serana is the one who did this murder, and she's like, no, for sure I didn't, but I'm not like, sad that she's dead either. And so the first chapter is kind of like getting the basis of what happened, murder mystery. You think that's going to be like the plot for the book. It's so certainly not. The Red Sisters come to investigate. This is a matriarchy society of dark elves. It's very Forgotten Realms. If you are into D&D lore, it's very much based off that. This started as like a web series over 9 years and then was eventually re-edited and put together as a published work, and now there's 10 books, and that's just like too much for me. But if you're really into like Forgotten Realms lore, if you want more matriarchy, if you want cruelty at the hands of women, but also a lot of erotica, maybe. I do definitely say check trigger warnings. I don't know where you can find them. There was certainly none at the beginning of this book. But if you're interested in this, just know that it is erotica, but also plays a lot with kink and sexual assault mentions and just sexual assault trauma at the hands of a family member. And it talks a lot about like humiliation kink and is going to get further and further into it. It's definitely erotica, and I didn't know that going into it. I thought this was a epic high fantasy as it is pitched, and then there was like going to be some sexy scenes involved. It's not that. This was an adult piece of fiction, and it's, oh god, the pitch of this book is saying like, first synopsis paragraph is like a murder mystery. If I've killed my sister, then like I'm next, I'm gonna be sacrificed. But if I didn't kill my sister, what's to happen? She is then sent away to court, basically, to like represent the house. She's trying to reclaim her body and her voice and her choices, and I think that's honestly like a really cool message, and I think that this book could be saying a lot. And I don't want to put any, what is the word? I'm struggling with words today. I'm having really bad allergies and I just can't seem to have thoughts. Basically, I don't want to project my personal feelings onto this book. I don't want to say that this book is not going to handle these topics with care. I don't want to say that these kinks are inherently bad or should be shamed. I just don't think that they're going to be, for me, the like humiliation, the using sexual trauma to coerce people into it, the like dubious non-con of it all. Definitely sounds like there's going to be some trigger warnings for rape and sexual assault. So I just kind of want to like protect my peace with this, not do that to myself. I'm so sorry. It's one of the hard parts about like recommending books. I haven't read every book ever, and I want to recommend books that fit, you know, prompts or whatever, like sound accurate to what we've got going on. And I don't feel like, now that I've gotten a little bit more information about this, I don't know if it super fits tyranny. I don't think it's a great recommendation. I'll probably remove it from my list just so that nobody else picks this up thinking about what it is and then like gets, you know, blindsided with what actually is going on. I do stand by to a point that this still could fit tyranny, just the way that there like are demonic sacrifices. There is the Red Sister, which kind of has like this cult, but also like very heavy influence in the politics in the world. It's very like about the politics, but like also erotica. It's a very interesting mix of everything. I do think that the Red Sisters can kind of correlate to some way in like the light cult. I don't remember what it's called right now, but I can see similarities. I think that the relationship Tierney has with her sisters relates to Serana's experience, where Serana, again, feels like an outcast, doesn't quite fit in, doesn't really like her sisters, like doesn't really want to be around them, is doing what she can to get away, like doesn't have like that strong sister relationship. But this book also promised in the synopsis that it is a found family story, and if you love D&D, you're gonna love this. And I don't fully disagree. I just am like, it hasn't happened yet, and I know I'm not giving this book nearly enough of a chance. I fully agree. That's like the one hard part about like DNFing books, which we won't even get into the discourse about everybody, authors getting upset about the did not finish Goodreads shelf. We're not going to get into it. It doesn't matter. But what a bummer way to end this video. I don't know what to do. Like, I don't have a lot of tyranny picks, so like I don't know what else I would read in this time frame. I guess I can find out if there's more length on this video, then that means that I found something. But I am nervous that I won't have anything to read. But yeah, I don't like DNFing a book to like end the video. That's stinky. That's not fun. That's not the right way to do it, but that's okay. I'll record it now. I won't know, but you'll know the first book for our next week's pick, because I'm using my phone to record right now, so I can't do it. But this is going to be the first character that we read a book for in our final part of this, the third chapter of this video series, if you will. This will be the character that we are reading together first. I have 4 characters left, plus my little secret 5th pick that we will be reading together. And yes, anywho, if this is the end of the video, thank you so much for watching. Sorry for the downer ending. I hope that you guys enjoyed this video, and I will see you guys in the next one very soon. Bye!